Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Carriers. I'm Tim Falanga, Senior Vice President of Amwins Connect Northeast. Today I have a special guest with us, Mr. Paul Bartosic, the VP of the Connecticut Marketplace for Harvard Pilgrim Health Care. Paul, great to have you today.
Tim, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So Paul, thanks for joining us. You think about the Connecticut Marketplace, and Harvard Pilgrim Health Care has been here in Connecticut since 2014, so you're still a relatively new player in the marketplace. But, Harvard Pilgrim has a long-term history behind that, and I wonder if you could tell us maybe a little bit about that.
Yeah, we absolutely do. So although we're relatively new to the Connecticut market, as you mentioned, Tim, we've been around for over 50 years. So we actually got our start from a group of physicians in Massachusetts who came together and started a health plan. So that really has, throughout our storied history, really proved our mission of being a trusted partner and trying to really make sure that we guide people for appropriate care. So
Paul, it was really interesting how your founding fathers were physicians. How does that affect your mission, values, and principles of Harvard Pilgrim as you move forward? As you've moved forward over those 50 years and maybe looking into the future?
Sure, it really is, again, being that trusted partner. And for example, in Connecticut, we are the only not-for-profit health plan in Connecticut. So we take that very seriously in terms of making sure that our community involvement is far above what many of our competitors might be. So for example, throughout the COVID pandemic, we did focus a lot through our charitable foundation to donate well over $1 million to various charities, a lot of it focused on food insecurity. You would be amazed that even in a wealthy state like Connecticut, the amount of food insecurity that really did occur through the course of the pandemic. So that's just one way that Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare likes to be able to give back to the community. Again, getting back to those founding roots by that group of physicians 50 years ago.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about people caring about other people, right?
It really is. So we're local. So the vast majority of my team lives and works here in Connecticut. And so we're very focused on the communities in which we all live and work throughout Connecticut.
So it's interesting you bring up the Connecticut Marketplace, which is what we're here to talk about, right? So as we look at Harvard Pilgrim's position in the marketplace, you've got your ACA product suite in the 2 to 50 space and the 51 plus space. How do you, view your product portfolio in the ACA space and, in terms of competitiveness and plan designs and, services offered, and what are the differentiators that make Harvard Pilgrim a especially good partner for us here at Amwins?
Yeah, absolutely. We think that we're very competitive in that small group market space, in that under 50 segment. So we've continued over the years to really look at that product portfolio. We do take feedback from partners such as Amwins and many of the brokers with which we both work as we're taking a look at each year what will our product offerings be. And as an example, we have rolled out some tiered and limited network products as of earlier this year and met with a great degree of success in terms of the competitiveness of that pricing as well as a very competitive product.
Well, there you go. And one of the new things that you guys have had in the marketplace in Connecticut is really kind of turned the corner here as opposed to some other states, and that is level funding, right? Level clients and brokers took a little while to kind of get the hang of it. But once our mutual sales teams got the hang of how those products work, it's amazing the adoption rate that we're seeing of those, here in Connecticut.
Sure, and I guess first I'd say that's an excellent example of the partnership between Amwins and the Harvard Pilgrim Health Care team that we did go, as you know, through many training sessions to make sure that both teams very much were in sync in terms of how do we sell that product and how do we market that product to our broker partners and then ultimately to employers. But specifically on that level funded or small group ASO product, that is where we also have listened to the market. So we've continued to refine that product portfolio, the size of employer to which we'll offer that product. We've continued to expand that option and would expect to continue to do so and be even more flexible over the coming year.
Yeah, when you think about how long you and I have been in the business mutually together, right, 30 years or more for that matter, you think about the self-funded aspect of what we do. And when we started in the business, in the late 80s, 250, 500 lives. And now we're writing level funded, self-funded plans for businesses down to 10 lives.
Well, so first of all, I'm a little offended that you brought up to 30 years because, gosh, now I really feel old.
That's right. Now, welcome to the club.
We're in the same boat. We're in the same boat, so that's okay. No, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, if you think about it, when we first got started in the business, even maybe just 10 or 15 years ago, oftentimes self-funding was really for that, like you said, that larger account, 500 or more employees, and slowly has come down over time where many small employers under 50 now want to avail themselves of that sort of option. Yeah. So you're absolutely right.
The ability for a small employer to have some alternative than just that same old fully insured, 15% rate increase, take it or leave it kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we at Harvard Pilgrim Health Care, again, flexibility is important for us and ease of doing business. So the more options that we can provide to the employer community through brokers and partners such as Amwins, I think we all win in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. And the easy button, right? Having the easy button, your new business submission protocol with Smart Start, right? Tell us a little bit about that and how that makes the easy button easy for everybody.
Yeah, so that is a good example of where Harvard Pilgrim has continued to really innovate in the market, and I think it's definitely a differentiator for us. So we do have, as you mentioned, our Smart Start program. That's for all of our employer sizes, whether they're small or large employers. It's actually basically white glove onboarding service. So as soon as Amwins or one of your broker partners tells us that a particular client has sold and here's the benefit plan that they've chosen, employees can actually then call Harvard Pilgrim at a toll-free number, receive concierge service through that Smart Start program, really understand what they need to know as they're onboarding to the new plan. So again, we believe that's a differentiator for us in the Connecticut, but certainly throughout the New England market.
Right, and does that alleviate the problem, Paul, that we've all experienced at one point or another through our career of, where's my group number? Where's my ID card? How does that help to make a comfortable transition for a broker or client moving to Harvard Pilgrim?
Well, it's really twofold. One, that service is there for the HR team. So the HR team is able to use that Smart Start program. So as they're getting questions from their employees, but then certainly as a member, if I have questions about what prescriptions are covered on my formulary, how do I choose a primary care physician based on my plan design, do I have questions about any sort of coverage for me or my family, all of those can be answered up front, even before the effective date.
Oh, that's tremendous. We've all been in this business a long time, maybe not as long as I initially had stated, but we all get those calls on the first of the month, where's my ID card, where is that? And it's really, my team's experience with you, working with you folks at Harvard Pilgrim has really made that go away to a great degree. So we appreciate that, that you guys can focus on the things that are important to the brokers and the clients.
Well, and that's where being local really does help us, because that whole installation process, if you will, from a local perspective, starts in my office here in Connecticut. So it's actually the sales support team here in Connecticut responsible for that initial installation, and they're really closest to you and to the customer. So I think that's why we do have relatively seamless installations for new business.
Yeah, and small and large groups. Speaking of the larger group segment, right, in the 51 plus space here in Connecticut, do you folks have a strategic vision on being more competitive in that 51 space? Does that create, market growth segmentation for you folks? Is that something that, our brokers would need to know about as they listen to this video?
Yeah, sure. It absolutely is a focus. So when we first came into Connecticut, as you can imagine, the vast majority of our sales were really in that small group segment, i.e. the under 50 segment. And we've seen over the past several years really start to grow higher up market, right, to the extent that we are certainly selling many employer groups, 100, 250 plus employees. Certainly in Connecticut, as you know, based on the business, the sweet spot is sort of that 50 to 250 segment, just right based upon the employee population and the employer mix here. But that's another area where innovation has been very important for us. So actually this past January, we did roll out a virtual PCP product that we branded Simply Virtual. It's a great partnership with Doctor on Demand, where when an employer chooses that health plan, their employees have the ability to choose Doctor on Demand as their primary care physician. But again, that innovation we think is key. And then with the pandemic, we've seen telemedicine, the usage of it skyrocket. So we think now is a great time for a product such as that.
Yeah, exactly, the whole telemedicine thing. And you talk about the innovation, and innovation and technology has really changed a lot in our marketplace too, where clients and brokers, where traditionally in that 500 marketplace, we're utilizing benefit administration systems, but it's taken a while to kind of move that down market, just like self-funding has. And so I guess the question is, have you seen that same thing where those benefit administration systems that will talk to a carrier directly with an electronic feed, are you finding that, in our space, what we've noticed is we're writing larger cases because of the technology that Amwins brings to the table, and how that technology interacts with our carrier partners, we think is really important.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and we've seen that technology continue to take over in a good way. And certainly with the pandemic, as more people have just gotten used to technology in general, exactly, we do expect that a partnership such as that with Amwins and being able to take some of those direct electronic feeds will make it easier for all of us, Amwins, us as the carrier, for our broker partners, and then ultimately for the end customer, our employers and members.
There you go. Making it easy on everybody.
Absolutely.
So Paul, I was thinking a little bit more about the virtual product and the innovation and how technology works. What can the marketplace in Connecticut look forward to with, expansion of the virtual plans? Maybe in 2022?
Yeah, sure. And even in 2021, we're expanding the product portfolio in our large group to include what we call virtual choice. So it's really then an opportunity for family members to choose whether or not they'll use a doctor-on-demand primary care physician or maybe a brick-and-mortar physician. So a good example of that might be perhaps I would choose doctor-on-demand as my primary care physician, but my wife or kids would prefer that brick-and-mortar. They can do that within that virtual choice plan design. We have filed in Connecticut to expand both of those options, the Simply Virtual and Virtual Choice, in our small group product portfolio for 2022. So pending approval from the Department of Insurance, we'll be offering those products in small group as well.
Oh, so that's cool. So you've kind of merged a traditional PPO and the virtual product into one?
No, so they're all HMO based, but the beauty of those products is that it's based on our HMO network, which is the full New England 6-state seamless network. So unlike other carriers where typically an HMO product is based on just one state service area, our products, all of our HMO products, whether it's the virtual or more traditional products based on that HMO network, it's all of New England.
As employers utilize technology in their own way with work from home and all that kind of stuff, is Harvard Pilgrim going to be able to work on a 55-person group in Connecticut with employees all around New England, but employees also in Dallas or LA or Chicago?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of our arrangement. So we do have that proprietary network that we've built in New England, as I already mentioned. But in addition to that, we do leverage United Healthcare and their Options PPO network. So if you do have employees such as Dallas as your example, they have an opportunity to, on a seamless basis, use those United Healthcare doctors in Dallas.
Oh, there you go. And if they're utilizing one of the virtual products, are those virtual office visits also national?
Well, that's the beauty of a virtual product, right? You're able to access that anywhere that you might be. So if you're traveling, for example, on vacation to Montana, you have an ability to see your doctor-on-demand primary care physician while you're in Montana, and you will see a doctor through Doctor on Demand who's licensed in Montana.
Oh, that's awesome. Really cool stuff. Thinking about the length of time and our maturity in the business, and our boys played ball against one another, so we've all kind of been on the same track for a long time. How did you get into the insurance business, right? You don't grow up saying, I want to be an insurance man. And at least I know I didn't.
No, certainly didn't, and it's not very auspicious. So my undergraduate school, I sat in the placement library, which when you and I went to college, it was a placement library. There was nothing online. And I happened to sit down in the T section, T for travelers. I pulled out a binder, saw a job for group school with travelers, applied for it, and history ever since.
And you've been in the business ever since?
Yeah, 30 years.
And I answered an ad that said, unlimited earning potential, sales. Go figure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Funny stuff. Paul, as we kind of continue our discussion, I often think about the partnership between Amwins Connect as a general agency and a company like Harvard Pilgrim Health Care, right? How can we help you grow? How can you help us grow? It seems to be, very synergistic, right? We're driving down the same track together. We're thinking the same way. We're aligning, and we value that. We think that that keeps us all focused, on growth and the things that that make a difference. When you think about Amwins Connect as a general agency, talk a little bit about the distribution that that Amwins brings to the table, and how that enhances what we do together in the marketplace.
Yeah, I absolutely do think it's enhancement for Harvard Pilgrim Health Care, and I say that because I believe that our broker partners benefit from that relationship that Harvard Pilgrim and Amwins Connect have together. A good example is, Tim, at least on a quarterly basis, our teams are working hand in glove on strategy for a given quarter, so that we really make sure that both of our organizations are addressing the needs of our broker partners, and that strategy continues throughout the course of the year. And a good example is as we've tried to expand into Fairfield County, some of the marketing efforts that we've worked on with you jointly. Certainly in the past, we've done things such as broker bonus programs together. So I do think all of that demonstrates a definite partnership between the two organizations that I hope shows through to our broker partners.
Yeah, I really do think that does make a difference where, our marketing team has made a connection with your marketing team and you know, again, thinking along the same lines. How do we help you drive market share in Fairfield County? How do we pull more brokers in? How is your product design? What does your compensation look like? And you know, all of those things are pieces of the puzzle that, you know, I think our consistent feedback back and forth helps both of us.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I'm thinking of a great example. A few years ago, there was a municipality that we were quoting with one of your broker partners, and Harvard Pilgrim at that point in time in Connecticut did not play in that space. We did not have any municipal clients. So I really do see that Amwins partnership as a large part of helping convince that broker of the level of service that Harvard Pilgrim would be able to provide through the partnership with Amwins. And 3 or 4 years later, we still have that client, and I think they're very happy. So I think a great example of the partnership and how that benefits both the broker as well as the employer.
There you go. So Paul, thanks again for joining us today. Really, really appreciate the partnership. You know, our time together, our teams. I don't think that it could be, you know, any better. And so thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Tim.
And everyone, thank you for watching us today on Coffee with Carriers with Amwins Connect.